The love story. Before civilization dawned, before language was invented, and before even fire was discovered, people understood the significance of weaving beauty and passion into words. In fact, the oldest love poem found is on a Sumerian clay tablet more than 4,000 years old, according to Ancient History Encyclopedia. Myth and legend from every ancient culture tell the love story over and over again, whether it be Penelope and Odysseus, Changa and Hoyi, or Vishnu and Lakshmi. But one love story has been repeatedly twisted and silenced over the years, the gay love story. Today, let's first look at the history of homosexuality in literature, then analyze what the written word reveals about the gay and lesbian experience, before finally looking ahead to the future of LGBTQ free expression. In ancient times, homosexuality was out in the open, and on the most part, viewed positively. According to a Stanford Encyclopedia article published on August 6, 2002, ancient Greece detailed same-sex dating etiquette, sexual relations between men and myth, and even the philosopher Plato admired and respected gay men. Ancient Egypt, ancient China, and ancient Rome were said to be similar. So the question is, what happened to these open-minded civilizations? The answer begins in the Holy Roman Empire, whose rapidly changing economic and social structures birthed the first anti-gay laws. The Bible was written in the 1st century Common Era, and texts from Leviticus, Romans, and Corinthians supported the rising homophobia. In Leviticus, sex between men is declared an abomination. But despite these new rules and laws, people were still mainly tolerant of gay people. LGBTQ literature continued, and the Gregorian Reform movement, which according to Britannica in the 13th century made rules about marriage a lot stricter and thus resulted in much more severe punishments for acts of homosexuality, but these punishments were rarely acted upon. In fact, William Shakespeare wrote 126 sonnets about a male character with whom the narrator falls in love with. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? The narrator asks of your youth. An essay from Aeon on March 18, 2019 says that some argue that these poems are just about a friendship, but others, like C.S. Lewis, say that these poems are far from heterosexual. What really changed the LGBTQ rights was the Age of Enlightenment. Doctors realized that sexuality was not the devil tempting people to sin, but instead an uncontrolled inclination. But based on years of growing oppression and countries' fascination with clear gender roles that made societal structures easy, they decided that those who were attracted to the same sex were so because they were diseased, and that they should be rehabilitated. The Crown versus Wilde, which was a 1895 court case, centered around the well-known playwright Oscar Wilde. According to a biography.com page updated on October 10, 2019, Wilde had written the much admired and respected novel The Picture of Dorian Gray a few years before. It was his first and his last book. Its eloquent descriptions of male beauty were cited as proof that he was a homosexual in the later trial. He was declared guilty and sentenced to 2 years of prison. And as a biography.com page updated on July 15th, 2020, says he reportedly asked as the trial came to a close, "And I, my lord, may I say nothing?" Oscar Wilde died 3 years after he carried out his sentence, penniless, at the age of 46 in 1900. But with the coming of the 20th century, we begin to see new tentative publishments of same-sex love stories. And these love stories were revolutionary. They gave a voice to a group long suppressed. But what did they have to say when they finally spoke up? The Price of Salt was a 1952 lesbian romance. It was an elegant book, but according to a New Yorker magazine written by Margaret Chalbot on November 23, 2015, The author Patricia Highsmith denied writing it for almost 40 years. What we see in The Price of Salt is a repeated theme throughout gay literature: denial. According to as he says in his New York Times article published on April 26, 2020, Jake Nevins explains that the trend is modern, mostly openly gay characters for whom self-denial and even outright deception have become a way of life. People get so used to lying to both themselves and others that it ruins their relationships and restrains their quality of life. As proof to back him up, he cites one of the greatest books in all of gay literature. James Baldwin published Giovanni's Room in 1956. It is a sad story of a young man struggling to identify as gay, and as he falls in love with Giovanni. Baldwin, in a later interview conducted by Richard Goldstein in the 80s, says that Giovanni's Room is not about homosexuality, but instead what happens if you don't love anybody at all. He says that if he hadn't written the book, he would have had to stop writing altogether. So the theme of gay literature has gone from silence, as shown by those who kept their identity forever a secret, like Marcel Proust, Virginia Woolf, and Ian Forster, to shame, felt by Oscar Wilde and Patricia Highsmith, and then to denial and deception, as shown by books like Giovanni's Room. It is a long history of unrequited and doomed love. And other times, gay romances are either banned or ignored in literature. According to the National Coalition Against Censorship, dozens of books with LGBTQ content were banned from school libraries, including a sweet picture book about two male penguins who raise a chick in Central Park Zoo. And if you've ever read the Pulitzer Prize-winning masterpiece, The Color Purple, you know that it includes a moving romance between two women, as explained by a Daily Californian Post from February 25th, 2019. But if you've only seen the movie The Color Purple, you might have missed this point entirely. As the director, Steven Spielberg boils the entire romantic plot to a single kiss. But something changed in 2017 that was a turning point for more than 2,000 years of oppression, and it was the book. What was so revolutionary about Andrew Sean Greer's Pulitzer Prize-winning book, Less, was the happy ending. In a Sydney Morning Herald article from April 20th, 2019, Greer says that it was important for him to have Arthur as a queer character to have a happy ending because he long wanted to read that book and he couldn't find it. He didn't think that anyone would read his book, but what he discovered is perhaps the future of gay literature, out in the open, passionate, and holding nothing back. And recently, it's not just gay authors who put down gay characters into their books. Fellow prize-winning authors like Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, Michael Chabon, and Isabel Allende all have queer characters they write into their stories. Gay people are finally taking back the page. James Baldwin lived as openly gay during very repressive times. In the same Richard Goldstein interview in which he fantasizes about a black mayor or a black president, he says, "I am working towards the New Jerusalem. I won't live to see it, but I do believe in it." He died in 1987, which was 27 years before, as documented by the White House Archives on June 9th, 2016. President Barack Obama declared the Defense of Marriage Act unconstitutional, therefore legalizing gay marriage in 2011. So, though the story was hard to get through at times, we are going forward. We are going to that happy ending. Thank you.